They must have hit that K dot and was like, they not like us.
Is to see Bud fight Fundora because I'm really intrigued by that matchup.
I mean, he's a champion. He's got to be ready. Even if we think he is or not, he's got to be ready.
They're just guys that Tiffany knows. Once you're in this boxing game, you're going to keep bumping into these same guys that are in this business.
But I think that he learned something about himself that night, which I think will carry forward in the future.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Episode 118 of the Standing A podcast. We are back. We back in the building. And man, we about to have a fire episode, y'all. So we're going to get right into it. So, hey, we got my man, Ringside Ruiz in the building. What's happening, Steven?
How's it going, boss? Super tired, super exhausted. I was at Pauly D at Texas Live last night, fist pumping and everything, taking it back, realizing I'm too old to be doing this stuff. So I am hurting today. But hey, when you're talking boxing with the best the DFW's got to offer, you get up for it every single time. So I'm here.
Hey man, that's what I'm talking about, baby. You know what it is, man. All day. Hey, and we got the first lady of boxing, Tiffany Daniels. How's it going?
Everything is good. I just got back to Cincinnati. I was in y'all's area over the weekend.
Yes.
My nephew's still there playing in some D1 conference down there. So I'm exhausted too. So I know and thank you, Steve, for inviting me out. I just come here. I had to hop on the plane last night, and it's been a whirlwind.
No, I felt bad. I couldn't link up with you all the way from Ohio. You were like 10 minutes from me in Mansfield, and I felt bad.
It's cool. It's cool. I know it was busy. It was a busy time.
Yeah, definitely busy, and yeah, same thing here. Had a lot going on the agenda, and it's like, man, Tiffany then pulled up. She out here. She on the home turf and missed her. So we're gonna definitely have to make some things happen. So then next time you're out here, or maybe next time we up there in that Ohio runs boxing land, we can see what's going on with that. But yeah, it was good for you to be down here, and we'll catch up on the next time for sure.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And sometimes we have some pretty nice guests on, and then there are other times when we have phenomenal guests on, and those guests that are so great that they're so nice you got to have them twice, you know what I'm saying? So we had to have our man from DFW, Fort Worth's own, Eddie the Kid Vazquez, back on the show with us. He's been on with us before, and we're super excited to have a man back on for us. Eddie, hey man, how's it going, man? How you doing?
It's going good, man. Going good. Been a long weekend of Christmas shopping and doing Santa things with my daughter. Just waited like 2 or 3 hours at the Galleria in Dallas to get a picture with Santa. We actually went yesterday, weren't able to get in, so we had to drive all the way back out there and do that again today. So things have been going good here, taking care of the family, kind of just waiting until the next fight day gets. And we're getting closer. Actually, I was hoping to have an announcement this week, but there's always some backstage politics shit going on, so it's just not ready to go quite yet.
Hey, that's funny. You jump right into that, man, because I was thinking about that just before we started the show and everything. You had been kind of hinting at there was some inkling that hopes for some big fight news that would be coming up, hopefully pretty soon, seemingly very soon. But like you said, it got some politics that might be in getting worked out and things like that. And we know what happens in the boxing game, man. We know how it is, but it's good to know that there are some very big things that are on the horizon either way it goes, if it's right on the cusp of being announced or coming very, very soon. So that's also great.
Yeah, man. You know how the game is. You guys know what the game is like, and yeah, I mean, I wish I could, things would go out the way you want them to go, the way you picture it going, and just sometimes it just doesn't go the way you want it to, and sometimes things go slower than you want them to, and that's kind of where we are right now. It kind of sucks, it's pretty well. I don't even know if the fight's going to happen anymore. Is the crazy thing is the contract came in ready to send it back out, and it's like yeah, so it's kind of hard to go into detail on that because I'm not quite sure, but yeah, man, it just sucks because it was a massive fight on DAZN, Matchroom card, and shit just happens that way. Especially to me, it seems like it happens to me a whole lot. But oh well.
Do you mind if I ask? Obviously it can be frustrating as a fighter. You're a gamer. You show up. You're always ready to go. Win, lose, or draw, you are going to be ready. You're going to give the best you can.
Oh, absolutely.
What is that like when you're just like, man, I'm doing everything on my end? And like you said, there's boxing, there's the business side, and then there's the actual boxing. But sometimes that business side can get in the way of the boxing. So what is that like for you? And then if you could tell kind of everybody out there, man, like how to keep your mindset right. You mentioned, doing stuff with your daughter just to be, make sure you're right. But also, hey, I'm doing everything on my end. So when I get the call, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it could definitely be irritating because, yeah, like first off, let me just address the way I can deal with it is like I'm a genuine like boxing head. Like I love boxing, so like I could not be a professional fighter. I could be, 0-20. I could not be, I could just, and I could not be, in the top 10 or whatever, and I would be training my ass off no matter what. This is just something I love to do. It's in me ever since I was a kid. So that's kind of how I keep going because no matter what, like nothing's gonna stop this. Nothing's gonna stop this motion that I got going, and this kind of this grind that I have in me is just something that I was kind of.
Uh-oh.
We might have got frozen. Oh,
There we go.
Oh, sorry.
No,
you guys, did I freeze up?
You froze up a little bit. It's okay. You were saying that even if you're 0-20, you've got that dog in you. You're going to do this because of the love, the passion that you have, and I think that's shown. I've seen you at the Mesquite Rodeo right after one of your Triller fights that you had, and then it was amazing because you gave me time, and you didn't have to, but it's because you were just talking boxing. You were talking about what you had just done. So it was really refreshing to see that when you talk to fighters like yourself, that it's just a passion of theirs. When you're talking boxing, it's not a job. It's just what you love to do. And when you're doing something that you love, it's not like you're really working, but this is your work. And thankfully you've done really good, really been successful in it. So props to you.
Thank you, man. Yeah. Like to kind of like piggyback off that, like, yeah, like, it's what I do. I love to do it. I don't really have to have anybody push me or any kind of fight date to look forward to kind of, bust my ass every day. Cause it's just in me, it's just, I love to do that. But it does get irritating, it gets irritating when you have something looking forward to, especially when you get the contract in and then things fall through like literally within 24 hours, like that kind of shit right there is like, yeah, like, it's very irritating and sometimes discouraging, but I feel like that's why it's important. Like a lot of times fighters feel like you don't need management, and I feel like it's important to have managers and to have a promoter, like just to know that, hey, like even though this is not working out, like I know these guys are working behind the scenes to bring up something next or bring up something else, like, work on another fight almost immediately. And then my promoter, like, I know that I have X amount of fights per year guaranteed. So like, no matter if this doesn't happen, I know there's something, like it has to happen. Like there's something else coming. And so that helps a whole lot. You know what I mean? Cause I feel like it's easy for a fighter, especially me. I've been doing this for, 22, 23 years now. It's easy to burn out, especially if you don't have anything to look forward to. Like you're just kind of just spinning the wheels, sparring, training, going through camp after camp, waiting on your coach to say, hey, like, I'm going to get you a fight. I'm going to get you a fight. And like that shit can get, like I said, it can burn you out. So, yeah, I'm thankful that I have my management team and my promoter that, that we're all kind of on the same page, and they let me do my job of, just busting my ass. And whenever they call, they say, hey, we got 4 weeks or whatever, 8 weeks, and can you lock in and let's get going? And I always say yes. I've never said no to any fight. So yeah, man,
Shout out. I was just gonna say, shout out Ant McQueen. He said Edward Kid Vazquez, my favorite fighter, Ant McQueen. So shout out him. He's in the chat. Just to piggyback off that a little bit, like you said, you've been in that game. You've been in the game a while now. You're just a professional, right? Everybody knows you. DFW loves you out here. Can you kind of speak to how important it is, not just for you to be doing your job, but also how important it is to have that team, to have that management squad that's going to fight just as hard as you are in the ring, outside of the ring, to get you all these things? And, speak to your promoter and your management if you'd like.
Yeah, no, it's definitely super important. It's definitely important. And it's important not only just to have a manager and a promoter, but a manager and a promoter that's on the same page as you, because I've also gone through that in early on in my career where I had another manager and another promoter in the beginning of my career, and we weren't really on the same page. Like I was trying to, take off and do bigger things, and they kind of didn't see that in me, or I don't know, maybe they didn't see them in themselves to make that kind of thing happen. But I always saw it in myself. I was always willing to gamble on myself. And once I got with the right manager and the right promoter, and they kind of allowed me to gamble on myself, within reason. Like I'm their investment, so things got to make sense. They're not gonna throw me in somewhere where they feel like it's not worth their investment. You know what I mean? So it's got to be within reason. But yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say is everyone's got to be on the same page, because there's a lot of managers out here, hell, even a lot of promoters out here that will sign fighters, but they're not on the same page. You know what I mean? These fighters are trying to leave the city and do bigger things, and the manager's probably keeping them in the city, fighting small shows, and I'm not sure exactly why, because my thing on that is like the manager always makes a percentage of what the fighter makes. So if you just keep this guy on small time shows, small time pay, I'm not sure what the motive behind that is, honestly, because it's like a whole lot of spinning wheels for nothing, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe they see something further on down the line, but I've just always kind of been that way. Like, I've been doing this for so long. I'm always like, hey, don't baby me. Like, just feed me to the sharks. Like, let me gamble on myself. Like, throw me in there. Throw me in there with that guy that nobody wants to fight. Throw me in there. Let's see what's up. Let's test this game. Let's see. So, but yeah, like, referring back to what we're talking about. Yeah, I feel like you gotta have everyone on the same page, and that's huge.
And I think that's actually worked out for you big time, because I mean, obviously, when you fought Mr. Ford, right? Maybe the decision didn't go your way, but you said, "Hey, put me in there. This is the guy that they have touted as maybe the next guy." And you went in there, and even Eddie Hearn, a great matchmaker, promoter in his own right, was just singing your praises, and that's a big testament, because here you have the other guy's promoter, the other guy's company, and he's just saying, no bullshit. We lost. Kid won.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the biggest praise, when you can make the other side give you kudos like that. For you, like you said, don't baby me, throw me in there, and let me do what I got to do, and you come out smelling like roses. You know what I mean? I thought it was great.
Yeah, man, and I always tell these fighters that too. Like, yeah, I always tell the younger guys, that are around the city and stuff like that. I always try to tell them, like, yeah, I get it. Like, you want to. I did the same thing. You want to fight inside the city for as much as first 5, maybe 10 fights. You want to kind of build your record, but the minute you get a chance to, especially if you've been doing this all your life, if you've been fighting since you were 8 years old or whatever, like, as soon as that opportunity comes to leave the city and gamble on yourself, do that shit, man. Like, if you're really training and you really believe in your skill set, first off, I feel like you shouldn't be in this game if you don't believe in your skill set and if you're not really training. Like, you're wasting everyone's time. Like, I don't know why the hell you're doing this anyway. This isn't like a team sport with somebody else. You can piggyback off of somebody else's work. Like, you got to go in there and do this. And if you don't see yourself at world championship caliber at some point in your career, then I don't know why you're doing this. But yeah, like, I tell these guys, if you've been doing this your whole life and you're training like you say you are, the minute you get that opportunity to leave the city, get out of here and go gamble on yourself. Go shake some hands. Go put yourself in front of these other promoters, these other investors, and try to make the connections, all the connections you can, because here, not just here in my city, but wherever these other guys are from. If anybody's listening, very rarely are you gonna do anything right there. Like, you have to get out and shake some hands and make connections and just try to just continue to grow. Grow your network and try to get onto these bigger platforms. And get these bigger paydays and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about: getting these paydays and moving up the ranks. And you're not going to do that in your city.
I'll ask one more and then I'll shut up, because I feel like I could just talk boxing with you all the time, but I want Tiffany and Tommy to go. But you're kind of just segueing into everything we had thought about when you talked about, everything that you're going with the management. With you, well, actually, the fight announcement, we were thinking about that. You went right into it. They were talking about your new management. You went right into that. So the next thing you said, just like I said, it's just easy. Like, man, you're a kid from this area, DFW, and then all of a sudden you're in Monte Carlo. Like,
yeah,
I know growing up myself, I've been to some cool spots, but never in my life with certain things that's happened. And I'm sure for you that you're like, man, I'm really a professional fighter making good money, a kid from the DFW, and I'm in Monte Carlo right now, just mixing it up with the best in the world. And
man.
And then I'm not out there getting, in over my skis. These guys are damn near robbing me on a lot of these fights, or they're razor thin margins. It's like, we're doing it. Like you said, I bet on myself. I rolled the dice, and here I am, Monte Carlo. Like, what is that like? When is there ever? Oh, lost him a little bit. I'll see if he gets back. Oh,
sorry, you cut out for a second. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, walk us through that. What's that like? You're in there, and is there a moment as a fighter that you're just like, I need to soak this in a little bit before I snap back into business mode?
Yeah, actually, I need to get better at that. To be honest with you, I need to get better at that because my friends and my team, sometimes they call me Mr. Serious, because I'm just so locked in, and I don't like to bullshit. Like, I'm not going out sightseeing and all that. Like, I'm locked in. Like, I'm training. I'm staying in my hotel, focus on my weight cut. Like, I need to stop sometimes to smell the roses. And yeah, I need to get better at that. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. And and mainly it's because, like you said, like I'm just, a kid from, this small town, or not small town, but boxing is a small town. And finding myself on these world levels, I realized that these shots don't always come to everybody, and they really don't. And so when I'm in these situations, it's not a game to me. It's not. I have to seize the opportunity and give it everything I have, and leave no stone unturned at the end of the day. And so when I get into these situations, like I said, man, I'm just locked in. But I do need to get better at just enjoying life a little bit more, I guess. And my girls helped me a whole lot with that. She talks to me about that. My parents do also, that this is all just a blessing. And when it comes down to times like that, like when I'm, like, say we were in Monaco for almost 2 weeks, so like on those last couple of days, I don't need to be. Yes, I do need to be focused, right? But like the training is already done. Like, as long as I'm losing weight in those last couple of pounds, shedding water or whatever, I can delegate a few hours out of the day to, walk around the city, see the beaches and shit like that. But honestly, I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm really not. Like, but I need to get better at that. And I kind of leave that for after. Like, me and my girl always after the fight. Like in Monaco, after the Monaco fight, we went to Switzerland. So like, we just flew straight from Monaco straight to Switzerland, and then flew back home. So like, I always leave like a week or two after the fight to kind of unwind and kind of smell the roses. But yeah, during those moments, man, like I said, I know those shots don't come to everybody. They really don't. And you don't a lot of times you don't get more than one shot. So like, especially an opportunity like that in Monaco, man, I was super locked in, and I didn't take any second for granted. I was on point with everything: the visualization, the nutrition, the training, the watching film, to shaking hands, meeting people, all that. I was on top of it on every single step. And that's kind of what made that whole moment kind of like, damn, like I thought I did everything right. Damn, this shit sucks, you know, but it's all good. You know, I have strong faith and I know everything works out exactly the way it's supposed to. And I'll be right back up there, up top before, you know, right on top before this all said and done.
I'll let Tiffany or Tommy ask you a question so I can shut up. But thank you so much for all those for letting me go back and forth with you there.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You made me think about my nephew's football coach. He told all the kids, you know, this ain't no vacation. This is a business trip. This is a business trip. Stay focused, stay locked in. You play when you go home. So that made me think about what you just said about staying focused, staying locked in. But my question to you is, I know you've been boxing, you know, basically your whole life, you know, since you was a little kid. And you kind of briefly touched on like you know, you have your own will power that's keeping you going and making you stay locked in. But what do you say to these boxers? Because you see a lot of boxers coming out now that are suffering from like mental health issues, or you know, they're saying they want to retire. Like we just heard Tank say he want to retire. He want to focus on, you know, himself. You got Ryan Garcia, you know, other fighters coming forward with mental health. What do you say to these up and coming fighters? How do you find balance in this sport when you get, you know, so many things going on? If you found balance, how do you find balance in this sport?
Sorry, you froze for a second. I couldn't. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you say. What do I say to these fighters? And then it cut off right there.
What do you say to these fighters that that need to find balance in the sport so that they don't burn out, and they can continue to grow?
Yeah, you know, I honestly, first let me say that I understand. I completely understand where they're coming from, where those feelings come from, because it's very valid, you know, especially when you're starting to deal with the business side of boxing. It can be very, very discouraging whenever, because us as fighters, you know, all we want to do is fight. A lot of times there's a lot of other things, a lot of other obstacles that come in the way of that allow us to just fight, which is, you know, it's a business, so it's very understandable. But I think the way I deal with it is just having a relationship with God. You know, that's my best way to deal with it, and knowing that although it's easier said than done, of course, and you know, we all have faults, but a lot of times I want things to go the way I want it to go and the way I envision it to go, and it doesn't always go that way. So like at the end of the day, what helps me is always, you know, like I said, my relationship with God, and knowing that at the end of the day, like I don't have the say so, and things are going to work out the exact way they're supposed to, and I know God will never let me fail. So that's the way I deal with it. And anytime a fighter asks me, that's what I say. Like, hey man, like, you know, you should get in touch with your higher power and realize that this, even though, you know, even though it's a sport and it's a business, we still don't have the ultimate say so, you know. And I think once you kind of find that, you find peace in that, I feel like you won't burn out, because you know everything is happening within, you know, for a reason, and everything's going to happen. Everything that happens is pretty much for you and your benefit, even if it seems like it's, you know, falling off the track a little bit or off the rails a little bit, and it's not the way you thought it was going to go, but everything's happening for you and the reason that, you know, God has for you.
Tommy, you have a question? You're on mute.
Rookie mistake. So, yeah, man. So a couple questions that I have. I mean, we've talked about a couple of different things here, and you know, one thing that you talked about to kind of walk this back some, like even just a minute ago, you were just talking about, you know, your belief and getting in touch with your higher power, and you talked about being able to make some changes and step out on faith a little bit. Just, you know, bet on yourself. A lot of these things that talk about faith and belief. You know, earlier you mentioned, you know, having that team behind you, right? And you know, whether that's a promoter, or manager, or whatever. And you touched on some of the pros and the pros and cons that can come from different teams. What would you say is one of the biggest blessings or positives that you experienced or have experienced since joining Lou DiBella, June of 2023?
Yeah, so I think first off, I think what got me in touch with the guy like Lou DiBella and also my management was my network.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the biggest blessing that comes out of partnering up with these guys to do business with these guys is now I get to almost join their network. So like these guys have been in the
Right.
game. These guys have been in the game for I don't even know how long Lou DiBella's been in the game. Probably since like the '80s, maybe before that. And they got a crazy network. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think being able to reach that, like that's how these opportunities come about, with Matchroom, or whether it be, when I had fights on PBC or top rank or Golden Boy, whatever it is, those network, or that comes from, like Lou DiBella's network or my manager's network. That's how those opportunities come about, because like I try to get as many in front of as many faces as I can, and I always fight my ass off. So at the end of the day, that's how I make my name relevant. But in order to kind of get in those conversations, you got to have somebody that's in the business, and that's where that's the biggest blessing, because that's where Lou DiBella and my management come in. They have a different of networking, and I'm able to tap into that based off my skill and my ability. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. When you could take someone, when you could take your own work ethic and your own skill, and then allow these guys to kind of work behind the scenes, and use their network to find opportunity. That's where it all comes together. That's kind of what the business is all about, because a lot of times a fighter will think that just fighting is going to do everything for you, and it's going to get you to these big opportunities or up in the rankings and shit like that. There's a lot of great fighters out there, man, but if you're not at the table, you're not going to get those opportunities, and that's just that's just the business.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not that it sucks, but in a way, it sucks that it has to be that way, because like I said, there's a lot of great fighters out there, and they may never ever get a shot because they never stand or never got in front of the right person or the right people, and
Mm-hmm.
that you'll never see them or you'll never hear them, and that's unfortunate. But that's been the biggest blessing in terms of signing with Lou DiBella and my management, is that they're willing to gamble on my hard work, and I'm willing to leave the rest to them and their networking. So that's been the biggest blessing.
Yeah, and you talk about that hard work. You talk about the work that they put in behind the scenes to make sure that everything is lined up the way that it needs to be for you and your career the best way possible. You talk about what that hard work does for you. Talk about to us now about October, Kenneth Taylor, Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden, fighting for that IBF USBA title. Talk about that, man. What was that experience like? Bring us in the ring a little bit, man, and then into what that felt like.
Man, it honestly, it was awesome, man. It was awesome to be able to fight Madison Square Garden. I don't know about anybody else's hype, but I was hyped up for
Yeah.
that camp going into that, because that's a legendary arena there, man. And a
Uh-huh.
lot of legends have fought there. And and it was just ironic that I happened to fight Kenneth Taylor. I don't know if you guys know, but me and Kenneth Taylor were signed to the same manager at the very beginning of our career. And so it was just like, when they told me, I honestly was like, "Are you serious? Like, for real?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, if he wants it, then all right, whatever, let's do it." You know what I'm saying? But honestly, man, like it was kind of the cherry on top of the whole year. The whole year kind of been kind of weird, you know what I mean? Like I had left my old coach at the beginning of 2024, and then I moved out to Vegas for a little bit and did a camp out there with the Salas Boxing Academy, and that was kind of going to be my long-term coach. And it's not that like anything fell through. It's like if I'm not getting these big paydays, I can't really afford to be away from my family. You know what I mean? I have to be back home to take care of my family. So I had to come back home, and I reunited with my original coach that I started boxing with since when I was a kid. and I reunited with him, and that was our first fight back together, was with Kenneth Taylor. So it was like a whole year of kind of just almost like starting all over again, honestly. And so it was the cherry on top, and it was cool to be able to bring my coach that I started boxing with to New York with me to fight Madison Square Garden, to get that win, to get that title. It was just like all the cherry on top of the whole year, you know. I had big, like, to be honest with you, like I said, things don't always work out the way you want them to. But coming off that fight with Joe Cordina last year, I thought I performed pretty well. And although we didn't get the win, there was a lot of momentum coming off of that. And I thought that we would land bigger opportunities, and there were a lot of opportunities that came through the door, and you know, and just for business reasons, it didn't work out. And so I saw myself fighting for, you know, bigger fights, but I think you know, it worked out exactly the way it's supposed to. And the fight versus Kenneth Taylor got me that IBF USBA title. I'm number 10 in the world at 130 pounds in the IBF. And so I think 2025 is whenever we'll begin to launch, you know. And it's kind of crazy because you always say, like I think I said 2023 is going to be the year we launch. 2024 is going to be the year we launch. Now 2025 is going to be the year we launch. But I really truly think that 2025 is going to be the year. You know, we're number 7 in the world in the WBA, number 10 in the world in the IBF. And so I think everything is just starting to add up exactly the way it's supposed to. At least that's what I think, and that's, you know, I'm just going to continue to work and, you know, hope and pray that this will be the year. But yeah, man, like I said, I think that fight in Madison Square Garden was the cherry on top of the year, and it was kind of more like a stay busy year, and that's kind of how I saw Kenneth Taylor. You know, the fight was, you know, Kenneth Taylor's he's a good fighter. You know, he's a good fighter, and you know, the title was on the line in Madison Square Garden, but I saw it as kind of just like a stay busy fight. That's why when they offered it to me, I was like, oh, come on, man, like I wanted something, like I want to be tested. You know what I'm saying? And you guys saw the fight, but that's kind of why I was kind of like, when he hit the corner, I was kind of pissed off because I was like, man, like, are you serious, man? Like, all this shit I've been through this whole year, I worked my ass off for this opportunity. I was so hyped for this fight. I you know, I did everything I could. I linked up with my old trainer again. Like, I was feeling good, and then this guy fucking quits in the round. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you could have at least let me knock you out or something. Like, you don't got to quit in the corner. You know, it's like you got an itch that you want to scratch. You can't scratch it. Oh man, you know, like I had me and my family and my friends were walking to dinner after, and my girl looks at me and she's like, hey, like, you don't seem happy. Like, are you okay? And I was like, oh, I'm good. I was like, but the thing is like, I just didn't get it out of me. Like, no one better look at me wrong right now. Else I'm gonna pop off on somebody, because, like, you know, you got that itch. You go through weeks and weeks of training and sacrifice, and then like, you just, this guy quits in the 4th round. It's like, God damn, man. Like, I really want to hit you right now while you're in front of my face.
He's like, hey, where them breadsticks at? Hey, can you speak to that?
Man, damn. He pissed me off, man, honestly, because
he's still mad about it.
Yeah. He about to go sign up again right now.
Can you
speak to what? What do you mean? Go ahead. What were we saying?
So I always talk to different fighters, right? When we're talking about this, and I like to figure out different fighters why. Sometimes they do it for their kids, they do it for their parents, things like that. And right away, we had 2 things. Noe G. Dallas, who's a great photographer here in the DFW, personal friend of mine. Shout out to Noe. He put in the comments, he goes, I love Vazquez's story, how his girl has always been supportive with his boxing career, right? So you kind of segued into it, where Noe asked the question. So you just won, you're eating dinner, you know, you guys are not at Long John Silver's. I'm sure it's a nice place. And she can see it in your eyes. Hey, are you good? And you're kind of like, I mean, I'm happy, but no, I wanted to scratch that itch, like you said. So how important, because now you've got your management team, you've got your boxing coach, and you've already hinted to it when you were like, my networking was on point, my diet, my nutrition, my management. So right away you're letting us know you're very high IQ when it comes to boxing, but also the business of boxing. And now you have the home part of your team, which is your lady. Somebody's going to keep you grounded. How important is it to have somebody like that you can say, hey, I can't talk to everybody with this stuff, but I got somebody like you that takes care of stuff on the home front, or whatever it is she does for you that keeps you grounded like that, because you're very knowledgeable on every other part of it too. So how important is she?
Oh man, it's very important. We've actually been together for 14 years now, since I was a freshman in high school when I met her. So I think I probably had like 70 amateur fights when I met her, and I stopped fighting as an amateur at about 90 fights. So she's seen probably almost 40 of my fights, including the amateurs. And so she's seen every bit of it, so she understands, and she understands every bit of the boxing game and everything that I go through. And yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't understand what a fighter goes through. Like I've been telling you guys, there's a lot on the business side. A lot of people don't really realize, that you don't really hear about. You hear a little bit, but not a whole lot, like on the day. And yeah, just to have somebody that I could kind of vent to and kind of just get all these problems out of my head, and kind of I actually get opinions also and advice. I mean, it's made a world of difference. There's no way I could do this just me and dealing with all this shit in my head and having to put in the work and also solve these problems. Like, there's no way I could be able to do it. So having someone like that, who's at the end of the day has my best interest, doesn't really care about if I'm making the most money or if I'm the most popular fighter. Like, she doesn't care about that. She genuinely loves me before I was even a professional fighter. So I think that's huge, and I feel like a lot of times people will say that like women are the death of a fighter. And I do agree with that. I feel like that's very true. If maybe, I don't know, I just happened to strike luck, bro. Like, I met her before I even turned pro. I met her when I was a kid, pretty much. She was 14, I was 15. Like, we were freshmen in high school, bro. So like I lucked out that way, and she knew me before I even knew that we would end up here, you know what I mean? So she still sees me in that light as of just a normal person, and whether I'm winning or losing or making a lot of money or not, she doesn't really care. And so she gives me genuine advice from the heart. And it's very hard to find in boxing, because boxing is a very sharky game. You can't really trust anyone. You never know who's out to set you up or to grab a piece of the pie. You never really know. So whether it's your, for me, it's my girl, but whether it's your mom, your dad, your best friend, I feel like it's super important to have someone like that, or just to have people around you who have your genuine interest and don't care about really the notoriety or, the financial benefits or anything like that. I feel like that's, yeah, man, it's super important. And it's very, very rare in boxing. And especially the higher up you go, I feel like it becomes even more rare. Like, you really got to watch out, because yeah, there's a lot of people that want to hang on to what you're doing, and they kind of want to rise up with you. And sometimes you don't even know until like it's too late, that this guy the whole time was trying to snake you. And that's just boxing for you, bro. Like, when that kind of shit happens, it's like, it doesn't even surprise me anymore. It's like, yeah, like, boxing for you. I always say that. Like, me and my girl will be like, damn, like this fight that I was getting ready to announce, and shit started going south. She goes, like, damn, like, why does this like happen? I go, babe, it's boxing for you. Like, come on now, like, you can't be surprised. Like, it's just the way the game goes, And yeah, but back to what you were saying, it's important to have something like that. Very important.
You gonna make her your manager like Jim Mosley?
I don't know if she'll be my manager. Like I told you guys, the network is what makes a good manager and a good promoter. So I don't think I can make her my manager, but yeah, we'll just keep it at that before you get me in trouble.
Wait, Tiffany, hey, I set him up to knock it out the park for his lady to be like, man, I just spoke so great of you. And then Tiffany's like, well, why don't you make her the manager, Tim Bradley Jr.?
Yeah.
I hope she's not watching.
Yeah. There went one of our likes right off.
No.
It just went.
That's funny.
So now, okay. So we I know we talked about your stuff. We don't want to, obviously we're not going to pry. So whenever it's time, we'll of course share like everything when that announcement comes. But we've been getting so much boxing for us, you know, as fans, as pundits, as people that talk about the sport and just passionate about it, right? We have Turkey that kind of came in the game, threw a lot of money in there, and now there's no A side, B side. It's like, hey, if you're gonna pay me that bag, I'm gonna go whatever side of town, whatever, regardless of the street now, right? Are there any matchups that you've seen this year that as a fan like yourself, you're like, man, I love that? Or are there any that are coming up that you're like, man, I really hope that they make that fight? As a fan, I'd like to see it, or I even want to go, or anything like that. Any fights that you like this year, or any that are coming up that you're excited for?
I think that. Yeah, I think that that Bivol versus Bitter Beef, I think that was a badass fight, and I think that was pretty impressive of Turkey to make that fight happen. That was, I mean, I didn't know that was even. I mean, I don't know how far away that being made.
You there, boss? Let's see.
I think he cut out. There you go.
Oh, sorry. You said it was impressive that he got that. You said it was impressive that he got that fight. You weren't sure how far that one was before it got made.
Cut out again. I'm not sure exactly. There you are. There you
okay.
You got me?
There you go. Yes, sir. I got you.
Sure?
Yeah.
Sorry, it must be me, right?
Yeah, because we got you.
You're good. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, my bad. I was just like, I'm like, damn. Yeah, I can hear y'all. Good.
So sorry, you said
what was the last thing you heard? Sorry.
We heard that impressive for Turkey to have made it because you weren't sure how far away that fight was to being made, and then it got made.
Yeah. I mean, I I think that kind of shit's impressive. Also, the just thinking off the top of my head, the Navarrete versus Oscar Valdez fight. The second part, I thought that was pretty badass too. These two guys that are warriors. And I don't know if I thought Navarrete was on the tail end of his career, but damn, that dude surprises me every time. So I guess he's not on the tail end of his career, but for these guys to run it back for the fans, I feel like that was badass. Man, I can't really think of anything coming up. What about you guys? What do y'all think?
Who do you got, Tiffany? Anything for you or Tommy?
No, like it's nothing that I've heard so far that I'm like super intrigued by. I still might go to Tank's fight against Lamont Roach. I'm still that might be a good fight, actually, better than what we are anticipating. So I might actually go to that one in New York. I've never been to the Barclays.
Yeah, that'll probably be a good fight.
So I'll probably do that. I might go to Clarissa Shields' fight if she's fighting in February because it's only like 4 hours from me. I can drive that. And I've never been to one of her cards, but she was the main event. So that'll be kind of fun to do that. But I'm just waiting on my boy. Y'all know who my boy is. I'm waiting on Abdullah Mason to show up and show out. So I'm waiting on his next fight.
Yeah.
And maybe if they ever announce anything for Terrence Crawford, I'll be happy for that too.
Yeah.
I know Tommy, me and him are going to get together this weekend for his birthday shout out. He's got a birthday coming up this next weekend.
Sagittarius.
Sax season in the building.
He'll be 21, I believe.
Yeah, times 2.
But we're gonna be watching that Usyk Fury, the second one. That'll be intriguing too.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
They haven't really. I mean, it's not any real big promotion on it. Like I didn't realize it was like next weekend.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten a ton of push for whatever reason, but
do you think it's because?
big?
Do you think it's because they announced Bivol and Better BF 2 with that whole massive card? Like,
yeah,
you've got Shakur on there, you've got Kid Austin, you've got Virgil on there. You've got a lot of great fights that are on there. And what's crazy is the main event, Better BF and Bivol 2, took second fiddle a little bit to what the rest of the card kind of showed up to be, and it kind of dwarfed a lot of other stuff. Are there any? Is that ever a possibility where maybe something like that, Kid, if they ask you, hey, you want to go to Riyadh season, you're packing your bags?
Man, I want to fight Ray Ford there. That's what I want to fight. I want to fight Ray Ford. We want to run Saudi Arabia, or I can go out there and fight Nick Ball. I'll fight Nick Ball out there, or Anthony Kakachi. You know, I know they like to keep those Europeans on that side of the world. So, you know, like I said, I'm number 10 in the IBF. At any time we can get that call to go fight the world champion or one of the top guys at 130 pounds in the IBF. So if they were ever to hit me up for Anthony Kakachi, I'm on my way. Like I told these guys, for a fight like that, I want a 4-week notice, man. Shit, you just give me 4 weeks, and I would like longer than that, but for a fight like that, hit me up. I'm gone. I'll pack my bags. I'm gone. I would love a fight like that, man. And fight Nick Ball out there. I feel like those are the kind of fights that are made out there in the UK or in Saudi Arabia, because they like to keep the UK guys out there active. But yeah, you know, like I said, if they hit me up, man, let me know. I'm on my way.
That would be. I would love to see you fight Nick Ball. I would. I kind of. Well, now that you said that one, I want that to happen, because okay, all right, Nick Ball.
Well, I'm number 7, and sorry, are you there?
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah. So I was saying, I'm number 7, so we can get that call at any time, you know. And I don't know. He just fought Ronnie Rios, so I feel like sometimes these guys. I don't know if it's mandated, it could happen, but if it's like a voluntary defense, I feel like they always kind of pick the weaker of the top 15. Not that, you know, no disrespect to Ronnie Rios, the dude's a good fighter, but I feel like he had been out and he's kind of really on the tail end of his career, and I feel like that's why he picked him for his voluntary defense. But if they were ever to mandate that, man, that, you know, shit, I would love to fight Nick Ball.
That's why I'm saying it, because I don't know if you know this, but I'm so cool with all those guys out there, and Ronnie's my homie, so that's why I want revenge. I'm like, put it all on Kid Austin. We're getting this lick back, and my guy's gonna get it back for us. That's why I want you to get that win, mainly for you. But like I said, it's 2 birds, 1 stone. It would be so awesome. And the poor guy, Nick Ball, hasn't done nothing. He hasn't done nothing but fought and do the best for him and his family. So that's not lost on me. But when you start meeting guys, and guys are hella cool like yourself, and you stay with these guys' careers, you know, everybody can't win all the time. So you feel bad, because there's been some fighters where I'm real close to, and then if they take a loss, man, it even hurts you. Like, I ain't gonna lie. I don't lie about it. People will text me, hey, your boy lost. And I'm like, bro, you need to stay away from me too, because I'll go from pundit to power puncher real fast. You keep playing.
Hell
with me.
Yeah.
It pisses you off. And Tommy knows. I talk to him all the time. I'm like, hey, these guys keep picking at me, but people act like, because you like, okay, so if you support a fighter, right? We don't, fighters, you guys, I do it for the love of a lot of these people, right? So I want you to get as much exposure, everything. So when people come around, they're like, hey, that's our guy. Like, he just supports us. He asks for nothing in return. We just love the support. So I do that for folks. And then some people, I ain't going to say no names, but they know exactly who they are. They act like that L that they took was your L. And I'm like, bro, I just want this guy to do good and get belts and get a mansion and have a white tiger like Mike Tyson. Why are you acting like I can't pay my cell phone bill because the guy lost? Like, bro, it sucks, but I want all my homies to succeed, and not everybody's like that. Like you said, the business of boxing.
That's bad.
So I digress. Let me bring it down. What do you got, Tommy?
No, that's,
Hey, you let that steam off, huh? No,
A little bit.
Hey, shout out to those in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, gotta love it. No, but Eddie, like we said, man, next week we got a pretty big fight coming up. You know, we all know what happened in the first fight. Give us your thoughts on what's going to go down next week. What are we going to be seeing in this fight with Fury and Usyk?
oh shit! I was like, damn, we'll fight.
See, look, hey, same thing we just said. The marketing for it is like, damn, the fight is next week. Yeah, it's next week, man. So like, tell us what you think is gonna go down in that fight, man.
I think Usyk's gonna take it on this one. I don't know. I think maybe Tyson Fury's on the tail end. He's been in some wars. He's got some miles on that engine, and I don't know if he's as hungry as he once was. You could say the same thing for Usyk. I think Usyk is the better fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. You know, I honestly haven't seen very much on their training or anything, so I'm just completely giving like my opinion, and it's uneducated to be honest with you, because I haven't seen any of their training or what they've been doing. I haven't heard anything about it, but just based off of what I think, I think Usyk takes it, and it's just my opinion. What do y'all think?
What you got, Steven?
Man, I would say I would take kids' uneducated opinion over my 30 hours of tape all day long, just because he knows what he's doing. He's the professional, and I just talk about it and he's about it. But I like Usyk because of the body work that he put into it. And it looked like you said, there's only so many wars that some of these guys can be on before it takes a toll. I mean, because like I said, Tommy, he's got a birthday coming up, and you know, there was a time where you're like, in my day, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're like, ooh, this is getting a little tougher. But I would say I like the way Usyk he attacked his body. He was smart about it. And sometimes I think Fury, I think it could be good and bad. Sometimes are you crazy or are you crazy like a fox? Because there's the mental game of it. And sometimes he does it great. And I think sometimes he gets a little lost in his own sauce where it takes away from what he's doing. And he even said it, and I think the face-off recently, where he goes, I was playing with the crowd a little bit too much and acting a fool in the ring a little bit, where, you know, you lose focus a little bit. And Kid can tell you firsthand, it takes a second for your whole game plan to go right out the window if you get clipped being stupid or making a rookie mistake. So when he hit him to the, even when Fury hit the body of Usyk, and he smartly, like a veteran, played it off like it was a low blow, and it was just a good shot. And maybe he didn't, his footwork wasn't right. He stayed in range, but just one slip up in the heavyweight game, that's lights out. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see the fight, but I think Usyk and like the mentality of this guy, he was in war. Yeah. He's a professional fighter, and you're in a war with Russia. I don't know how these guys are like that. Him, Loma, all these dudes they're at war. They're professional fighters. So I guess they're professional fighters, but can you imagine just, hey, Tommy, I know you work for Vivint, but you're going to go to war for however long it takes. And then you're going to come back and work be a CEO. Okay. Do I take my own car? Is gas expense? Like,
Hey! They can't get me to do that shit twice. I can tell you, I've already done it once, and that was back in my day. I ain't doing that shit no more.
See, and Tommy's a veteran, so it's just like I don't know how you would do that. So these guys, that European mentality, and I'm sure you sparred those guys before, Kid, where they're just tough metal. Am I right, or what do you think?
No, it's definitely true, man. It's definitely true. Yeah, they're different for sure.
Are there some of those things when you do spar different guys from different parts of the globe? Like you said, you were at Salas Boxing, and they've got some guys from around the world. Are there any fighters where you're just like, man, I could tell you're not from this country, or Hold on, America?
Sorry, you're cutting out. I can't hear you.
You got me?
Sorry,
can you hear me?
What'd you say, bro?
I was gonna say, can you hear me?
Shit, my bad. Sorry, I can hear you now. What were you saying?
I was gonna say, are there guys like
You
when you
there?
were at? Yes, you got me. Oh, it might be me.
Check test.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Are there guys like at Salas when you're training and getting that sparring from different work, different guys in different countries where you can when you can kind of see like, man, you guys are from a different part of the world because the mentality is different.
Yeah, man, especially the guys from Japan. The guys from Japan are, in fact, I was rooming with one of the guys from Japan. His name was, I'm not sure his last name, but his first name is Hayoto. And he was like a young guy from Japan. He didn't know any English, so we were using like translator app. But he says they fight with like, I forgot what he called this, some different kind of spirit. And yeah, these guys are like, he says that like Americans fight like they're afraid to get knocked out, and that they fight with a different kind of spirit. Like they don't, I guess, I mean, I would say, I'm like, bro, I'm American, but I'm not afraid to get knocked out. I don't know what you're talking about, but I think he's referring to like in general. I'm not sure, but yeah, these guys are different, bro. Like they, I sparred a guy before from Kazakhstan, and same thing.
Ooh,
Like
yeah.
they're different. Like they're I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it's not like an American can't whoop their ass, because it's definitely, we can definitely whoop their ass. But I'm just saying that they're different. You know, they got a different kind of mindset, different level of hunger. But yeah, man. Like I mean, you could say that about guys from Mexico. Guys from Mexico, you fight these Mexican guys, and they might have upside down ass records, but they don't give a shit, dude. These guys are coming and they're not scared. They're not, you know, if they can whoop your ass, you're gonna whoop your ass. They have nothing to lose. A lot of times, that's what it is. These guys come over here to America, and or not even if they're not coming to America, if you meet them in the ring anywhere, they're just fighting for a better future. And these guys are like, I don't know if Americans were spoiled and we don't realize it, but these guys are like really trying to get out of whatever the situation they're in, or I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're different for sure.
I think maybe because we see it as an American, as Americans, we can kind of see it as a sport and a business. So it's a way of, hey, I love it, I'm good at it, I can knock you the hell out. But like what you're saying is maybe for them, it's kind of like the warrior spirit from the guy from Japan, or maybe guys from Cuba that are like risking their lives to get over here to change it. It's just
ass off.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, you have a lot of the American dream. Like, man, these guys are risking life to get over here to put on a pair of boxing gloves. And for us as Americans, it's like, I have the choice to go down the street, look for a gym, lace them up, and see if I can get good at this. And these guys are like, this is my only option. It's this or nothing. So I think maybe sometimes it can be a little different. Like you said, we can still, no, I don't say we, but I'm just meaning like, pro-American fighters can still put it on you, but they didn't have to maybe go through shark-infested waters to do it.
Yeah, man. Like, and that makes me think of this guy. I'm not sure his name. That was training at Salas, and he would ride his bike 17 miles to the gym and 17 miles back home from the gym, and I'm like, and he was fresh from I think he was from Nicaragua or something like that.
Yeah.
English, nothing. Like, bro, he just would come in, would train, spar, whatever. Like, I think I saw him spar Brian Norman one day. And he came in there and sparred Brian Norman. He rode his bike 17 miles there, did the whole warm up and all that shit, sparred, rode his bike back home, and it was raining. And I'm like, bro, do you want me to order you an Uber? And he's like, nah, like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, these guys are fucking different, bro. And I consider myself pretty like hard worker, and I'll run, crazy amounts of miles, but I'm not biking 17 there and 17 back every day.
Yeah.
Golly,
I'm ordering Uber or something, dog. I ain't doing that.
Man.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Tiffany, hey, what?
Brian Norman, bro. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
and then the tack on 34 miles on top of it.
Mm-mm.
He
That's
said,
wild.
yeah, he said it would take him. I forgot what I don't know. I forget how long he said. I don't want to exaggerate, but he said it would take him a while because you're going through the city and shit. And yeah, man, it was to me. I was like, what? When he told me that, I was like, man, that's crazy. Because the whole reason I found out was because, yeah, like it was raining when he was gonna go home, and I was like, hey, like, does this guy need an Uber? Like, I don't mind like ordering him an Uber. We can ride share or whatever. And they're like, no, he rides his bike here and he rides it back home. And then when I asked him, he was like, no, like I'm good. I'm gonna ride it back home. I'm like, fuck, dude. He's like, all right,
Got on that bike and rolled on off.
yeah. It's a cool ass dude though. It's just yeah, these guys are different, bro. They got a different level of hunger. They're not. I guess we're spoiled Americans, and they don't see it that way. I mean, or I guess they see that and they just rather go the other route. They don't want to be like us soft ass Americans, I guess.
Hey, so two things. So one, Tiffany, I want to get your thoughts on next week's fight. And then after that, we got a question from Mr. Aaron Sorial in the chat. So, Tiffany, what's your thoughts on the fight next week? What you think is popping off?
I don't have any opinion on this fight. I really didn't care to watch it. To be honest with you, I am going to watch it. But the most intriguing thing I thought about the whole card was that they announced Madrimov was going to fight Virgil Ortiz in February, and then all of a sudden he fell out of this fight against Boachuk.
Yeah.
Sick. So that was the most intriguing part of it. So he's out. So I'm assuming he's maybe fighting Virgil Ortiz in February if he's okay. That was some type of Jedi mind trick that they played on us or something. So that was about it. I don't know. I feel like what Kid said, they're both kind of like on the tail end of their careers. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion.
Hey, I mean, I will say that quick little sick note bait and switch that happened. We could have done without that, but I mean, if it means a nice shot and a nice fight down the line, then I guess we're gonna have to take what we get. But yeah, you gotta hate when that type of stuff pops off and happens. So it is what it is there. Now, speaking of some things that popped off and happened. So from Mr. Aaron Sorial, shout out Aaron. So he wants to ask you, Eddie, just if you have any immediate thoughts on the Jaime Munguia upset loss in Tijuana, that going home and getting clipped and getting knocked out, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, let me just let you know my phone's probably gonna die here soon. So let me just answer this, and then I might have to get going. But
yes,
and I'll just keep on until my phone dies, though. I ain't tripping. But yeah, so man, that was crazy, man. That guy had like, I think he was like 5 knockouts or something like that. But that goes to tell you, like, the game of boxing is crazy, bro. Like, you can't sleep on anybody, and a lot of times it's not like necessarily power that's gonna do it. It's just placing the shot on the right spot at the right time, and you leave that jaw out there hanging. Sometimes someone's gonna come up and rip it off, and that's kind of what happened, man. He looked like he was kind of a little careless, trying to exchange with the guy. Maybe the guy, he didn't feel any of his power. And not saying that the guy has power, because you don't need power to knock someone out. But man, he just placed that shot perfectly, right on the right spot. It kind of reminded me of when Ashton Silva got knocked out by that one dude. I forget that guy's name. Remember when he got knocked out on the Jake Paul undercard? Man, did y'all see that?
Which one?
Ashton Silva, H2O.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me of that.
I remember that one.
Because it's like these guys are exchanging, and you don't really respect his power, but man, you get clipped with that one shot that's just you don't see coming, and it's just placed perfect. It could be a career ender. Like, seriously, like, you may never be the same ever again after that. And that's kind of what I think about Jaime Munguia. Like, he had so much hype. I mean, I'm God willing that he'll be able to be okay and take care of his mental health and bounce back. But a lot of times it knocks that confidence out, bro. Like, you're always going to be afraid to get hit with that shot again. And being at that level, fighting guys like Canelo, I don't know if he'll ever have that kind of confidence to sit in there and exchange, and that's kind of made him who he was, as a Mexican style fighter, and standing there and exchanging with people. And if he tries to switch that up, he may never be the same again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. So earlier, man, you talked a lot about, and I feel like we need to intentionally give time for this. But you talked a lot about just the people that you got behind you, support your team, a lot of people. Just giving you the floor for a little bit, man. I know you said that your phone could potentially die here soon, so I want to make sure that we give you the floor to give any shout outs, any thank yous to any people, your supporters, your team, your management, your lady, just whoever, man. The floor is yours to just give thoughts, praise, recognition, and shout outs to anybody that's behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to give a shout out to all the supporters, all my fans, all my family and friends. They're the ones that keep me in this game. They keep me relevant. They're always rooting for me, buying merch, helping me out with sponsorships, just keeping me in the game. And, I want to give a big shout out to my promoter, Lou DeBella, providing the platforms for me. My managers, my management team, DKO Boxing, they're always out, making connections, networking for me, doing the work behind the scenes, making sure that I could just focus on boxing. And yeah, man, especially like I told you guys, like you mentioned, my lady, my lady and my daughter, like the biggest source of inspiration for me, my source of motivation, and to get up and make shit happen. And I'm kind of like I always tell people, this I don't need like motivation. I'm just very well disciplined. But if I did, my source of motivation would be my girl and my daughter. I have to get up and provide and show them that this is how shit gets done. And I want to show my daughter that hard work always gets rewarded. And so those are my biggest shout outs right there.
Hey, man. Hey, wonderful shout outs. And and thank you to everybody that supports you, because those people that are supporting you throughout that journey, along the way, with you having that tremendous drive and just inner motivation and just self-starter, getting after it the way that you do, it produces the things that we get to see in your career. And so we're grateful for that, just as pundits and lovers of the sport, of the sweet science, man. So shout out to all of those that support you, and as we are supporters of you as well. And yeah, we definitely appreciate you, man. Ringside, you got anything just before we close out? We kind of go around the horn here, you, and then we'll kick off to Tiffany.
I think we might have lost him. I think his thing finally went out, which is no problem, man. He gave us the amount of time he did. So shout out to him for jumping on with us, talking with us. Shout out to you, Tommy, Tiffany, all of our guys, Aaron, Courtney, just everybody that's on our team, man. We're all here. We're all working our best on our own jobs, and then just to always talk boxing. So shout out to you guys for always chatting it up. But I was going to give a shout out to all our TKO right here. TKO, Coach Hector, Alexis Rocha, Jorge Chavez, Gail Cabrera, everybody that was on this card. I mean, awesome people inside and outside the ring. They always show us love, give us respect. And, man, that's all I always appreciate, man. Just respect is the number one thing to me. And, man, when people just give you the time of day and just boost you up when they can, man, that's huge. I'd like to return it 10 times if I can over. So shout out to those guys. They did a great job. Their whole club was on the card, and they all showed out. So shout out to, Coach Hector, TKO Boxing, Alexis Rocha, Jorge Chavez, Gail Cabrera, and everybody on the card, man. They're all putting their lives at risk for entertainment, all these fighters. So we get to watch these fights, but we don't have to ride 17 miles to the gym and 17 miles back. Just just to watch a guy be on a card to be like, this fight sucks. Like, bro, do you know what he had to do just to freaking be a professional? So just shout out to all these fighters, man, doing their best. Like I said, with the Jaime Munguia man, that guy's out there to try and change his life, his family's lives, and he did it. So shout out to him. But just thank you guys for always having me on, and we'll just keep going. What do you got, Miss Tiffany?
You see what Aaron just put in the chat? He says, shout out to Raul Curio, also a great warrior.
Yes.
Team Alexis. But
forget that guy. Go to the next thing.
Shout out to the team. Shout out to Eddie for coming on. Shout out to Ann McQueen, Jamie in the No EG Dallas, everybody in the chat. Just Do Boxing. Thank you for engaging with us during the stream. Yes. Shout out to all the young athletes that's in Richmond, Virginia for the 2024 USA Boxing Nationals. Day 1 starts tomorrow. So shout out to all the guys that's there, that's going to be competing, guys and girls. That's going to be competing there. I'm excited. You know, one of my boxing gyms here in Cincinnati, Real Deal Boxing, they have 7 number 1 seeded fighters. They were taking 13. So we got all the gyms from Cincinnati that are competing. So shout out to them. Shout out to Ohio Runs Boxing and Camp of the Greats.
Hey, Camp of the Greats. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, look who's back, man. Look, he just back from his 17-mile bike ride. We have.
No, I had to hop inside and put my phone on the charger real quick. My bad, guys. I didn't want to just leave out like that.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
I wanted to say I appreciate you guys having me back on. It's always fun, chatting boxing with you guys and getting to talk about life a little bit. It's fun, and I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. Hey, we greatly appreciate you. As we've chatted about and talked about, man, we definitely going to link up here sometime soon. Got some special custom Standing 8 podcast shirts for you, being a 2-time guest. Get that, get your episodes thrown on that bad boy, customized for you, and delivered delivered in person, man. So we're gonna sync up and link up and show out, man. But you already know that we riding for you, man. As always, we look forward to hearing what the great announcement is that's coming up. And whatever the movements will be and are for your career, man. We'll be watching, we'll be supporting, we'll be right there. And we love seeing you do everything that you do and representing the DFW, man. Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man. Yeah, not a problem, man. And hey, to all of our listeners and supporters, we love y'all, man. We appreciate y'all. As always, as everybody already said, shout out to those that were in the chat. Engaging with us on YouTube, on Facebook, all of our other team members, man. Hey, shout out! We love y'all as always, and we're gonna continue to hold it down. And all of our listeners, all of our supporters, all of those across the country, and as Courtney, would get on his Oscar. His Oscar-winning speech and talk about all of the different countries that support us, that out there.
You're lucky, kid. You're lucky that guy's not here, man. This guy shouts out every country that's in the world. And I'm like, bro, I got to go to bed, brother. But he's giving out love to Guam and every little major island of every... Hey, but there's boxing fans there.
Hey, it's because they love and support us, man. And so you know what? That's great.
I will say this. Please, if you can, post the link on the page for your merch. I definitely want to buy a shirt. So if you can post your link, I'll buy a shirt. Tommy, I'm sure will buy a shirt. Tiffany, we like supporting, so put it on there. We'll buy the shirt, and then you can ride it over to our houses on your bike, and we'll appreciate it.
I got a question for y'all though. I was down in DFW. I went to 3 boxing gyms at 3:00 in the afternoon, and nobody was there. Where are the boxers at? Where are the fighters?
3:00 is hit or miss right there. You either got to go.
That's crazy.
You got to go like 9 a.m. or maybe 5 p.m.
I said they were 9 to 1. I'm like 9 to 1, man. We get it in all day. Like sometimes we there at 8:00 at night. That's what I was trying to figure out where the gyms were. I'm like, where are the boxers? I'm trying to pull up. I didn't see not one boxer the whole time.
Yeah, boxing. Hey, I agree. Boxing's different in the DFW. When I was out in Vegas, even Philadelphia, I was like, man, boxing culture in Fort Worth is kind of dead compared to or in DFW is kind of dead compared to these other states. I agree with you on that. I really do, and I can't wait to open my own gym to where I can run it like that, where it's 24/7 boxing.
There we go.
Nice. We're gonna get a 1 week free trial, and you get punched in the stomach, and you be like, "I just needed the 1 day. Thank you very much. I'm out." No, but thank everybody, man. Be blessed, and let's get a strong week. Put in that work all week at work, whatever it is you do. Like Edward said, stay linked up in your faith and just keep on going. Shout out to everybody. All love to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And with that said, hey, this has been episode 118 of the Standing A podcast. We out, baby.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all. See ya.